Well, good morning. Welcome to Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30-plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. You know what, I did it. I think that's the first time I really did an opening description, and I liked it. I stuck with it, so that feels good. Morning, Ultronimus. Good to see you. You know what? There doesn't seem to be too much news, so we're going to talk about what I've been playing, what news there is, and then maybe just chat for a little bit. I think, the Game Awards nominees came out yesterday, which to me is not too big of a deal, but it is kind of a news thing that happens. And some big games do come out around this time every year, but usually it's either right before this time or like right at the end of the year, which is very interesting. Like that Ubisoft Avatar game came out late last year, which actually was pretty good, but I think it just got buried in everything. It's interesting how we can see good games get buried just because of timing. But I guess if they're really good, sometimes they'll shine through, like maybe eventually or something. I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Chris, good to see you. Yeah, I'm just surprised the chat isn't showing up where it normally does, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. Let me see. Okay, yeah, everything's okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to move the chat window over here so I can actually see it. Also, drama can kill a game. That's true. That is true. But let's see here. Let's jump into what I've been playing. So, yeah, you guys saw me playing the demo of Outlast. I played 13 minutes of that demo, and I was like, I'm getting it. So yeah, then I ended up later that day playing about an hour and 55 minutes. Got some chivos. It's a fun game. It's a cool open world game that doesn't do anything revolutionary, but it's tight, it's fluid. I think when you guys saw me playing yesterday, you saw where I could like jetpack in the air and then do the little there's a word for it, the skydive suit thing where I'm diving down. But apparently, even as you're playing, you can press those the left and right bumper at the same time and then just jetpack across the ground, flying vertically or horizontally, across the ground. So you could just move around quicker. And then you could fast travel at any time by opening the map and then fast traveling. So hey, you know what? My mic is acting weird. Hold on one second. I keep forgetting it. Okay. Still acting weird. What is it with technology? I'm just gonna ignore it. Okay, so Outcast, great game. So this came out this year, so it's gonna be in my top game of the year, running for game of the year. Personal. And it's funny because yesterday we were talking about like how the Game Awards added they said they're gonna add DLC, and it was for the Elden Ring Erdtree expansion, which I think it's so weird. Out of all the full releases that came out, they are doing that, but it's Bandai Namco. I'm sure that they've paid or something to do that because there are so many full game releases that have come out this year. I don't know. I find it weird. But I would also say as a person, like if it was an individual, I can see an individual saying like a DLC is their game of the year. But for some reason, when it comes to like an overall voting of, there's stipulations put in place, it is weird to put DLC in there. The one thing about the Game Awards, this is what you're always afraid it turns into. Like, I think early on it was a lot more fun and it was a lot more interesting and it was like, well, here's this game and here's this game. But over time it kind of turned into, oh, there's the chat finally showing up. Yeah, Ultronimus say, what the busy foot? Oh, no. Okay, it's still not working. Alternative saying the Game Awards isn't exactly the pinnacle of integrity. Chris, especially when it wasn't, about the DLC when it wasn't standalone. I know, it's like you have to have the game. But no, going back to the Game Awards, like, there was a time before where it was a little more interesting. There was, like, who knows what game would show up, what It wasn't trying to be something. I think the Game Awards is trying too much to come off as the Oscars, where it uses graphics and a clean aesthetic that evokes the Oscars. But I do think video games are different from movies for a reason. And so I think trying to make the mainstream awards show that makes money and then make it like the Oscars is doing the gaming industry a disservice. Yeah, I know it's not too big of a deal, but it's just that how it's being then shown in the mainstream. I don't think it really does it any favors, because gaming is so dynamic compared to a movie. Like, you can go watch a movie. Yeah, sure, people can get different takes out of a movie, but you could play a game, and there's so much more that could come out of a game. There could be the gameplay of it, the story of it, how people react to the gameplay of it, how people react to the story of it. Even the nature of the gameplay itself. I think one of the big things, and David Jaffe's brought this up, is they have this like best game design category, and really, or best game direction or whatever. And basically it's taking two different concepts and combining it into one, because there's so much, again, there's so much that comes to making a game, and I don't think that's being properly shown off here. Yeah, before it was Game Awards, now it's just the Game Awards. And say, yeah, it's taken away from the actual games and creators. Never forget, last year they had a big timer counting down their speech before they had to get off stage. But that's the other thing. Like, there's just so much about it, again, that they're trying to make it, like an Oscars, and this is a little different. Like, even the setup of, should people go up on stage for something like that in any way? Like, I feel like, so I do like the stuff where they have the premieres, like the world premieres. That's cool. Or when they're showing off new gameplay. But if it's just commercials, like, oh, we already know this and they're just showing it again, that's when, yeah, okay, you're just having me sit through a commercial. And that's just what it's turned into. But at the same time, if you look at the individual, Jeff Keighley, he saw an opportunity to make a lot of money in an industry he loves, so that works out for him. But it's just, I don't know, there was something about it in the past where I really was fond of it, and nowadays it's very commercialized and mainstream to where it's kind of missing the point. In just seeing and we'll look at that, just seeing, actually, yeah, let me finish this off, and then I'll actually move on to that topic. And just to finish off, Outcast is a 2024 game that's not getting any recognition at the Game Awards. And that's kind of the thing. There's so many games. I feel like it should be catered around making awards, or I guess showing off games that have come out instead of like picking what's the best. Anyway, again, I said I was going to get to that in a second. I want to touch on Giga Bash again. I played local co-op with my son yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Very interesting. In Epic, I launched it in Epic, 2 controllers, it doesn't work. When you have 2 controllers, it just sees it as one. It's very annoying. And then I found this really cool hack where you you exit the Epic Store, but then you add the Epic Launcher as a non-Steam game. You launch it through Steam, and then magically the 2 controllers work. Very crazy. Found that in the search. So hopefully that helps people out there that are interested. But anyway, we played co-op and it was fun. It has this party game mode where it's just like party games. It's excellent. I love it. This game is definitely worth for that. And it's one of those examples of a game that I wish was a cross-buy game. And what I mean by that is like, and maybe it is on Xbox and I didn't check. I don't think it is though. But you buy it once, you play it multiple. I guess I could still put it on my ROG Ally. But anyway, because I have my ROG Ally on the TV in the living room, but we have an Xbox in there. I wish I could have bought it once on PC and then gone in the living room to play with, the family, instead of dragging people into here on the smaller screen. But I guess I would just buy it again. I mean, I'm down for that. It's very fun. Yeah, again, the party game mode I think is where it's at. Also, I like how different the different characters are, the way they fight. There's just so much to that as well. So I think that that just again lends to it being really neat. Okay, I'm gonna talk about more Game Awards stuff, but first, here's a report: Sony working to acquire FromSoftware parent company Kadokawa. Now they do a whole bunch of other stuff other than video games, but they own a majority stake in FromSoftware. Tencent, I think, has a minor bit, but Sony already has a lot. So it would be very interesting for Sony to actually get FromSoftware, and it would kind of make sense. I mean, they kind of started off with the Demon Souls, even though they weren't willing to publish overseas, and Atlas had to do it. Kind of a weird little thing there. But what's even stranger about this is this comes off, and I don't know if it's related. This could just be my conspiracy theory hat. It comes off this announcement at the Game Awards that, oh, we can have games, and it was made very recently, this announcement. There are some games that could be nominated that are DLC. Well, what was it? Oh, it's Bandai Namco's Urge-Free Elden Ring DLC. So I'm again, conspiracy theory hat, I'm thinking Elden Ring, or Bandai Namco wants to hold on to Elden Ring or make it worth more for them to get their shares bought out, or however that works, of, the publishing rights of FromSoftware game. And so by sort of elevating it, because it wasn't a game and just a DLC, you elevate it during the Game Awards, it could get recognition that maybe somehow makes it worth more for Bandai Namco to let go, or makes it harder for Sony to acquire. Again, that's kind of a conspiracy theory thing, but it's kind of this news. One, the Game Awards deciding to do DLC, then all of a sudden Sony wants to buy the FromSoftware parent company at around the same time. It's kind of interesting. But I don't mind. I'll go back and say, even though Sony wasn't willing to publish Demon Souls in the West, at least they did, make it. That was a Sony Japan thing through FromSoftware. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think sometimes Sony, it goes back to the thing even the Xbox problem was, where any of these big publishers can have a developer, but they have to have a creator behind the scenes that knows what's going on. So if Sony is able to be like, okay, we've got, FromSoftware, just do your thing, we'll just help support, that's great. The other thing is about getting that Bloodborne remake. Sony wants the Bloodborne remake. The rumor is FromSoftware doesn't want to do it. This could be their way to do that, because I do think a Bloodborne remake, remaster, however you go about it, would be huge. I mean, I would be buying that up like crazy. I would prefer a Bloodborne 2, although this could be going in that direction. Anyway, I just think it's a bunch of interesting news that sort of came together at the same time. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so was there anything else? Oh yeah, okay. This is a game that would be in my top game of the year 2024 that I don't even think it's called out, if I remember correctly, in the Game Awards, maybe for RPG or something. But Dragon's Dogma 2, excellent effing game. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 recently, as suggested by Stephen and Midnight Hatter, and they are like the same thing. They both do the same type of thing I like, where it's, you have full control of your character and you're reacting to the environment, and you have all these controls you could use to react to the environment. So there is some possible DLC mention found in the data files of Dragon's Dogma 2, that being a boss rush mode, which would be interesting. I could see that being pretty fun, because when you fight like bosses in Dragon's Dogma 2, it's pretty amazing. With the moment-to-moment gameplay that already happens in the world, when you do that in the context of a boss battle, it's insane. I think it's better than, the Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter is you're taking your time, hitting just right and moving just right, where in Dragon's Dogma, it's like there's all the strategy, especially when you have your pawns. It's like, okay, who has what ability, who can jump where and do what. Tower of the New Moon. So that could just be a DLC, like expansion of the world, the story. And then multiplayer, which, if that means co-op, if Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to have co-op, that would be amazingly insane. Again, because of the open-ended nature of the gameplay. Like if you have two people running around in that world with that open with your pawns, oh man, that would just be amazing. And they're saying a multiplayer specific dungeon or dragon or your dragon multiplayer would be so fun, almost like a raid boss. I mean, that to me wouldn't be as fun if it's just like a multiplayer specific dungeon. I want to be in the world with a buddy where we have our camping supplies, where as we're just out questing, we have to, we need to camp for the night. And then while you're sleeping, maybe you get raided and then you have to fight. And then you're just traveling, helping each other out. We got a farm as we're walking around. That is the type of co-op I'm looking for. And it seems like video game companies never fully get there. Yeah, someone's just saying, but I'd rather just have it be real co-op MP instead of specific limited versions. It's always the whole point is the pawn system, and then others just want... Yeah, and that's the thing. You can already see multiplayer work because of the pawn system, where it's another person that has, that can have the exact same sort of loadout and everything. Let's see... Dragon's Dogma does have that online game that was Japan exclusive, so it is a possibility. That's right, I remember hearing about that. I'll have to look into that and see how that did, and maybe that's where they got some of the ideas from. Dragon's Dogma did have multiplayer raid bosses, but that wasn't the most fun. You know what? I didn't even know that. Did not even know that. Yeah, interesting. Man, it makes... I did go back and play the original Dragon's Dogma, but the sequel just adds just enough stuff, quality of life improvements to make it a better time in general. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's in the top of my game. Actually, that's a good idea. I might hold on, let me open something up here. I might kind of go into my own Game Award nominations. Where did I put that? Right there? Okay, I'll get to that in a second. Let's look at this didn't have a list. I opened this thinking it had some sort of list. Interesting that Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has been nominated for Best Action and Adventure and Best Family Game. It's kind of weird, I think Echoes of Wisdom, I haven't played it, but things I've heard about it, people are like, it's fine, it's okay. It's weird that is the Best Action Adventure. And then even for Best Family Game, it had The Plucky Squire, which, I don't know. Some of the stuff doesn't make too much sense. Again, I think it's, I'm assuming people are paying for eligibility for nomination. Oh, yeah, here's the actual tweet. Okay, Game of the Year, Astrobot. See, Astrobot, I could see that. Even though I think it fell short of what I was expecting, I had a lot of fun with that. Balatro. Yeah, Balatro, even though it's like a card game, but it does a lot of classic video game stuff with the roguelike elements, and I played a lot of that when it first came out. And was that earlier this year? That's crazy. Black Myth Wukong, I could see that. That was a super competent, well-made game. And then again, Shadow of the Erdtree, that's like a DLC from a game from 2 years. You need the 2-year-old game to play it, so that doesn't make sense to me. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I guess. I know it didn't sell that well, so did not many people play it? Or not? I don't know. And then this Metaphor game, hear a lot of good things about it. So it's that seems like a pretty decent list, although I feel like I would swap Elden Ring with Dragon's Dogma 2 easily. For one. And then, yeah, I'm not too sure about the... Stellar Blade's not on here, but I played the demo and I liked it. I haven't played the full game. I'm waiting for the PC release, but I don't know. Sometimes these games are completely different. How do you really figure that out? And then innovation for... wait, did that say inaccessibility? But anyway, I guess that's a category. Okay, Best Action Adventure Game. Yeah, again, it's weird to have Echoes of Wisdom on here, or even Silent Hill 2, when I consider that more of a horror game, but not Dragon's Dogma 2. That's why not having Dragon's Dogma on there, it's really weird to me. Even Best Action Game. But this is a good list. This is a good list of action games that were really good this year. Although it's interesting, and again, I'm agreeing it's a good list, even though this year's Call of Duty did not get me like I thought it would. Best adaptation. Oh, that's pretty neat. I gotta say I haven't watched any of these. I started Knuckles, I started Fallout, but I would say Fallout because just from what I saw, it looked like in terms of adapting. Although, oh no, that was last year. I was about to say Castlevania Nocturne, but that was last year. Most anticipated game. You know what? I look at this list and I'm sad. I'm like, yeah, what is there to anticipate? Because none of these really interest me. Metroid Prime 4 could be good, but they've delayed it for so long. And to be honest, while I like the Metroid Prime games, after the first one, the second and third, I didn't really play too much of because it was just not exactly what I wanted from a Metroid game. I feel like once you go from 2D to 3D, the pace slows down because then you have to take your time in 3 dimensions, whereas 2D exploration is a lot more faster paced. And then Death Stranding 2 on the beach, I haven't even played the first one, so I need to. Best art direction. Never heard of Neva, you gotta say. Astrobot's pretty cool. Black Myth Wukong, in a way. I mean, most of the surrounding areas are just like Unreal Engine 5 realistic assets. So the creatures do look cool, so maybe that's what they mean. And then Shadow of the Erdtree, yeah, that's again art direction from 2 years ago. Best audio design. Okay, those could be cool. I think Astrobot had some really good audio stuff going on, and yeah, I don't know. Best community support. Yeah, I mean, Fortnite makes sense. Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky, and I guess Baldur's Gate 3, I don't know. I haven't been playing that, and then Final Fantasy, 14? I haven't been playing that. And then Content Creator of the Year, I don't know. I don't know these. Best Debut Indie Game, I would say Balatro for sure. Can't say I played the other ones, though. That's the thing. I mean, I've looked them up, I've watched them be played, and I was like, not my thing. And even Balatro, and so I should play them because I'm saying even Balatro didn't seem like my thing. And then I played it and I was like, okay, that's actually pretty good. Best esports athlete, esports game, I don't know. Esports team. Best family game, this is the one that seems real weird to me because of the Plucky Squire, because isn't that more of a, Maybe I'll have to try it because I thought it was more of like a puzzle, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, even Astrobot, it's not multiplayer, so it's hard to really be family game. You know, when I think family game, I think multiplayer. But I guess if it's not multiplayer, they just mean because the whole family could play. I guess. Oh, and best fighting game. The only thing here I find odd is they would have Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, and they would have Multiverses, but not the SVC Chaos. That's probably in my top 5 game of the year. I played the crap out of that when it came out. I think it was June or July. I would think that would be here. But Multiverses? I mean, they've already said it's just not doing that great. And I think you could objectively say SVC Chaos is better. I don't know. And then best game direction. Yeah, this is where David Jaffe brings up a good point where what do they mean by game direction? They actually explain it on the website. And I mean, at the end of the day, you're going game of the year. It's like they're just shuffling around like what's best action game of the year. Games for impact. I think Indica would be cool to win. That's the weirdest, I think, of all of them. Weird, I just mean at a place for like video games. And okay, so we had best. Wait. Let's go back. Games. Best debut indie game. Okay. Well, I feel like you shouldn't have the debut indie game in the indie game, but I guess you could. But then again, it just almost minimizes the amount of coverage because I think it's more about covering different games than it is about like winning something. Like I don't know. I think if it was a general like game design award and they talk about in terms of like systems and stuff like that, and then you had the lead game designer come up on stage. That's more my thing. I think makes sense. And then best mobile game, I don't know. I haven't been playing mobile games. Best multiplayer, let's see what's on here. Helldivers 2 would probably be on my list. And you know, Call of Duty, can't go wrong. They tend to make it fun no matter what. But like, why Tekken 8 over any other fighting game? Although I think Tekken 8 does have some pretty interesting multiplayer systems in it, but it's like people didn't really talk about it too much after it came out. I meant to get it and I didn't. It's actually the first one I haven't bought when it come out. First Tekken. And you know what? And the other thing I want to say too, and I felt this was coming last year. Last year I thought was kind of weak with game releases, and I even feel like this year kind of. The one thing that I think is like Dragon's Dogma 2, excellent game, love it. It's a sequel, you know. But the one thing that is not on here anywhere that I think should have some sort of nomination, and it might not because it's Konami, is the Castlevania Dominus Collection. The fact that Konami was able to get the 3 DS games to be formatted and work on modern screens, that's having the main game, having the map, having the stats, and also a remake of the Castlevania arcade game, complete remake. It's where they redo everything. You know, the music, the graphics, the gameplay. Like, to me, that should be here somewhere. It should be called out, and it's not, and it's disappointing. I would even say, if we're going to start adding DLC to stuff, for sure, in my opinion, the Ode to Castlevania DLC had better music than this stuff. I mean, this stuff had good music, but we're talking about 30 tracks, right? Them taking old school, I think it's 30, taking old school Castlevania music, but redoing it. I mean, they redid it from the ground up. It's an amazing achievement. It should at least be nominated. So, and then VR game of the year. Okay, I didn't play any of these except for Batman, but I know what Metal Hellslinger is. I just don't know if I could play that in VR. Arizona Sunshine remake. So there's a remake. I played the original. I thought that was okay, but I wonder if the remake is better because the original you couldn't really freely move. And then Asgard's Wrath 2, I heard good things. I probably need to play that. But Batman, it's Arkham in 3D. I can't believe they did it. That seems to be about it. Oh yeah, and then how did Versus or Multiverses get over Mortal Kombat? You know what I think it is? Again, I think this kind of leads to. Was MK1 last year? I thought it was this year. Let me look that up because for some reason I thought that was over the summer. So man, time really flew by fast. Let's see, Mortal Kombat. What is it? One release. Wow. September of 2023. Yeah, wow. I guess that speaks to apparently this game isn't doing too well. And because I was about to say, where was that? Why pick that? Why pick Multiverses? Even though even Multiverses was released 2 years ago, wasn't it? Or a year ago originally, and then they re-released it. So it's, again, like, this stuff doesn't make sense. And I think, again, what I was trying to say is it speaks to, there's good games here, but there's not this thing of what happened before, like when we would get our Halos or the original Fallouts. Like, and a lot of times the games that end up being good are just iterations. Like, oh, that's a great game, but it's really just an iteration of what's come before. And then I have this little list here that I'm working on where I'm trying to track what I've been playing. I need to add Outcast on here. So I have the games that came out this year that I've played, and then I'm highlighting the ones that I would consider to be in the Game of the Year. You know, so like Dragon's Dogma 2, SVC Chaos, Star Wars Outlaws, which I cannot wait. Just, 2 more days until the new update comes out. Astrobot. But there's other games here, too, that I had fun with. And then here's games that I played. It's funny how I beat Order of Ecclesia for the first time this year. And then they came out with the Dominus Collection. I mean, that's almost telling me, you know. Yeah, same with Dawn of Sorrow Julius mode. Although that's part of... Actually... Yeah, let me think about that. Dawn of Sorrow, but I first played that from the Dominus Collection, so that actually doesn't count. Let's see. Yeah, Metroid Dread, I beat that this year. Disney Illusion Island, beat that this year. There's actually a few more things I need to add in here, like Godzilla PS3. Because I actually technically beat it, even though there's more I can do. And then stuff that I'm waiting for is like Stellar Blade that I might not even get to. There's that other one, Rise of the Ronin. And then... Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, Final Fantasy Rebirth Silent Hill 2, a great soundtracks. Okay, that's cool. Chaos Reign came out this year. What's Chaos Reign? Let me look that up. Oh, is that like a Mortal Kombat? Okay, I see. Which, then, yeah, it's DLC. They could add it, but apparently Mortal Kombat's not doing too great. Yeah, Dead by Daylight should make the community online thing. Because I haven't played it a lot recently since the Castlevania, but all the stuff they add to that is insane. So I'll probably be updating this list by the end of the year, but my plan is once I'm done with 2024 in terms of by the end of 2024, if there's no big releases like within the last couple weeks, I'll probably do the video then. I'm going to cover my favorite games of the year, and then my favorite games that were from previous years that I beat. And I think there's actually more on here to put, and I'll do that eventually. Well, anyway, good. I'm glad I filled that time up. I didn't know what we were talking about because there's not too much news. Because really all the news is the Game Awards stuff. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll hang out again tomorrow. See y'all.